Hearts around the world are bleeding for Palestinians as Israel's relentless brutal war on Gaza continues. It began in October 2023. Israel, key allies such as United States staunchly support it. But international condemnation of the atrocities against Palestinians remains unwavering and unprecedented.
Israel is slowly becoming a pariah state.
Israel claims to be fighting the Palestinian group Hamas, but it has killed around 40,000 Palestinians, more than 70% women and children in Gaza. Aid agencies describe the humanitarian situation as catastrophic, with nearly 2 million people displaced. Africa is at the forefront of seeking justice for Palestine. Israel has been prosecuted at the International Court of Justice, accused of committing genocide in Gaza in a case brought by South Africa. Several countries across the world have supported and applauded the South African initiative.
We see live television broadcasts of babies and women and children being murdered. We have no doubts that it is a genocide, not simply a genocide in the sense of a mass killing, but the genocide of an entire people, attempted genocide of an entire people, as is understood by the Convention. It's an unbridled, brutal attack on the people of the Palestinians. Many countries have joined South Africa. We didn't expect anybody to join us, but Turkey has joined us. Many other countries have joined us. And we're happy that they have joined us because it adds weight. Not weight in terms of influence, but weight in the sense of it adds more muscle to the case before the World Court, the International Court of Justice.
In January, the ICJ ordered Israel to halt its aggression, an order it ignored. Later on, 19th July 2024, the ICJ delivered an advisory ruling against Israel.
The sustained abuse by Israel of its position as an occupying power through annexation and an assertion of permanent control over the occupied Palestinian territory and continued frustration of the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination violates fundamental principles of international law and renders Israel's presence in the occupied Palestinian territory unlawful.
In May, the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, ICC, Karim Khan, requested the court to issue arrest warrants against Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense minister over alleged war crimes in Gaza. An unprecedented move.
The ICC is sending a new message. And the new message is that it is not only African leaders that they're going after, and it's not only enemies of the West that they're going after, but it also is an ally of the West that it's going after.
The fight by African countries to ensure justice for Palestine is not just a coincidence.
The African Charter for Peoples and Human Rights makes a specific statement about the Palestinian issue and makes a specific statement about the African Union and being against Zionism and seeking to overthrow Zionism and remove Zionist influences from Africa. So I think that, in a sense, the African process of decolonization has not ended until Palestine is free.
Africa had suffered decades of brutal colonial rule by Western countries. The scars remain evident. In particular, South Africa was subjected to white minority apartheid rule, which ended in 1994.
The world supported us. Most countries of the world supported us. And it's our duty to support Palestine now. And the world is and will support.
Some analysts draw parallels between the oppression of black South Africans during apartheid and the current plight of Palestinians. Others point to the genocide committed by colonial Germany in Namibia more than 100 years ago. Many observers say the major stumbling block to ending the war on Gaza is US continued support for Israel with weapons and at international institutions.
I fiercely oppose the ICC's decision, and I will work with President Biden and members on all sides to keep support for Israel strong and unwavering.
The ICJ and ICC also lack mechanisms to enforce their rulings. Some experts also blame this for Israel's continued disregard for the recent ICJ order to halt its offensive in Gaza in the case filed by South Africa.
The court itself doesn't have the power to implement it. So that depends on the United Nations Security Council to implement, to do the punishing. And that's where the politics come in. Israel has been for decades and continues to be protected in multilateral fora by the United States. And that's the problem, that this is not just, it's a legal issue insofar as making a determination, but in terms of the punishment part, it's also a political issue. But having said that, I think what we should add is that the Genocide Convention not only makes it illegal for states to commit genocide, it also makes it an obligation for other states to prevent genocide.
There are also fears that if Israel's atrocities are not stopped, other oppressor nations could be emboldened to pursue their neo-colonial agenda.
I think that what's happening in Gaza now is a critical moment for the whole world. Not just for Africa. I mean, if we place it within a broader global context, the positions that different states take on Gaza will determine where they stand in that battle going forward. So it's an extremely important issue in terms of just generally the global South confronting imperialism, confronting neo-colonialism.
The support in Africa for Palestine has also been visible on the streets of many countries. Several countries, including Turkey, are supporting the South African case against Israel at ICJ. The momentum is increasing rapidly.
South Africa's actions are monumentous in that for the first time we are having a country that is legally standing up to Israel and saying what you are doing is wrong according to the laws that govern all of us. The advisory opinion by the ICJ is also momentous because for the first time the last court of the land is saying to Israel what you are doing is illegal. So here is an opportunity for humanity to have a rallying point to say whether we are going to ask the United Nations General Assembly to implement universal jurisdiction.
And for the countries supporting Israel's atrocities in Gaza, analysts predict a nemesis.
I have absolute confidence that the majority of countries of Africa, Asia, South America will support Palestine, and that will bring an end, ultimately, the collapse of Zionism.